All right, guys, Academy Award was last week. I watched 5 of the films: Oppenheimer, Barbie, The Holdovers, Maestro, which was kind of an underrated film with Bradley Cooper, and Poor Things. Let's start with Poor Things.
Yeah.
Matt, I know you had a chance to watch it. I just got to tell you guys, I think you're more into researching movies before you watch them. Correct me if I'm wrong. This one, I just knew it was nominated. I saw one clip with Emma Stone and thought, oh, this looks interesting. I'm going to try to watch as many Academy Award nominated movies before the show. So we just flipped it on one day, and it was one of those movies, like, we got done watching it and we both said, my wife and I, we go, that was interesting. About halfway through, I said, bonus, quite a bit of nudity here I didn't know about, but
Right.
but anyway, I'd like to hear your review on this, Matt, before I jump in.
Yeah, so I didn't even really know much about it. I'll pay attention a little bit to the Academy Awards. I've never been super into those, so I know you like to try, and I have some other friends too that try and watch all the best picture nominees, or the best actress nominee. I have some friends that do that too. I've never been too big into that. My wife actually saw the preview for this and mentioned it to me, so we watched the trailer on Hulu, and I was like, we were both like, this looks kind of weird. But Emma Stone, of course, she's a fantastic actress. She ended up winning Best Actress for her role in this. It looked pretty weird. And then I remember you said the same thing, like, kind of a strange movie. And we were like, let's give it a shot. And you need to go into it with an open mind, because it is as weird of a movie as you can even imagine. I don't even know what I could say about it to give it justice. It obviously is very good because it was nominated and won awards. It's shot very interestingly, very like artistic. The way that it's shot, the story is the strangest story you can ever imagine, but it's really well done if you can get past the weirdness. I guess there is a lot of nudity and sexual content. So if you don't like that stuff, you probably don't want to watch it either. But she's great in it. Obviously, she won Best Actress. She played her role extremely well.
She was unbelievable. Really was.
Fantastic playing the role that she did. It's just an interesting movie. It's one of those, you watch and you want to stick with it because you want to see how it plays out. It's also, there's so many parts where you're like, what the heck is going on?
Well, it's funny. My sister was talking to my wife about it, and she says, I heard that's a porn movie. And my wife goes, no, it's not. There is nudity. But my wife, she kind of tied it all up perfectly. She said, it was a really interesting movie, and you just could not stop watching it. You were just totally engulfed in that movie. And that's how I looked at it. And if for anybody out there that wonders what it's about, it is very strange. It's kind of a modern day kind of takeoff on Frankenstein, a different angle of Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein. So I think it's
Frankenstein, and then like the scientist or the surgeon, I guess, if you want to say, like playing God, doing some of that. Frankenstein is probably the better comparison, I guess.
Well, kind of interesting when you mentioned God, because his name was Godwin, and when you first when the Emma's first talking to him, she's calling him God. That's kind of, I think that's intentional, obviously.
But like you said, you want to stick with it because you kind of you grasp onto her character. You want to see how things play out with her, make sure she's okay in the end, and all that. But
Mark Ruffalo got nominated for the Academy Award too, as supporting actor, and he was also fantastic in it. I thought, really good. What an interesting role, huh?
Yeah. No, really good. I would give it, personally, I don't know if I could go full 3 out of 3. My personal, our 3-point podcast scale, I liked it. I probably, won't necessarily go back and rewatch it again. I'd give it a good 2.5 at least, because it is really good.
Yeah.
Not one of those that I'm going back to watch 10 more times or whatever.
I'd probably go a little higher personally, just because, there's a lot of movies that are the same old thing out there, like superhero movies and stuff like that. You know how I stand on that. But this one was completely unique and just bizarre. It was well acted. So I'd give it a solid 2.9 myself. I mean, if you can't stop watching a movie and you're still thinking about it afterwards, that goes high up the ladder for me. Now, I know you watched a couple of things recently, haven't you?
Yep. So I'll throw these out. Jared had to step off real quick, but he'll be back. But So we'll wait to see, because I think he had a couple things too. But and these are two that he probably would not be as interested in, because they're more like true crime type stuff. So on Netflix, there's one called The American Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a couple. This happened in like 2015, 2016, is out in California. This couple ended up getting a crazy home invasion in the middle of the night. It was a boyfriend girlfriend. The girlfriend got kidnapped and taken away. She ended up, there was a bunch of other stuff that happened to her. The boyfriend like got drugged, and so when he came to, he called the cops, and he went to the police to try and find her. A ton of crazy stuff play out that the cops, the FBI, didn't believe his story of how crazy it was. It was around the time that movie, the Ben Affleck movie Gone Girl,
Gone Girl.
came out.
Yeah.
And it's basically, so they started saying that she was trying to play out the Gone Girl movie. They did not believe him one bit. They were trying to pin like a murder on him. It goes through, it's one of those, again, when you see the interrogation footage and what the FBI and the police were doing to him, it almost makes you wonder, like, who are they really out for? Like, are they really out to help these people, or they were trying to basically get him to admit to murdering her? And it starts to make you be like, man, are the police, or is the FBI, are they really out to help us? It's one of those situations. And it ends up, they go through, it's a 3-part, it's about an hour. So, you can, an hour per episode, you can knock it out pretty quickly, but it's just crazy how it all plays out. It ends up kind of not necessarily happy ending type of thing because of everything that happened to the couple, but they end up catching the person, and they figure out that they were telling the truth, and it was not a Gone Girl situation. But it's just crazy how it all played out, and how they had to go jump through so many hoops, and finally, like, one little thing happened, of like what normally happens in these stories. One little thing happened that like opened up that they were telling the truth, and they
The story was very bizarre. I remember seeing it originally on Dateline or 48 Hours or something, and then my wife and I did watch the first 2 episodes. So we're waiting to watch the 3rd episode probably this weekend or today later. So it was a very interesting one.
Yeah, I feel like I remember hearing about the Gone Girl story out in California, but I didn't remember any of the details. But I would definitely recommend it if you like true crime type stuff. That's a very good one. And then the other one that we watched is called The Program, also on Netflix. And this one is just, again, another crazy, bizarre. It's about these facilities that parents send their kids to, basically like detention facilities, or that parents send their kids to if they need special care or whatever, or if they're troubled teens. And apparently there's this whole, not as much now because they've been shut down, but there used to be this whole system of schools that parents would send their kids to if they were getting into trouble or whatever, and they needed to be straightened out. But what's come out is that there was just so much, what you can imagine, so much abuse, sexual abuse, and just all this insanely crazy bad stuff happening at these school facilities. But like, it's kids from the school that went through this program doing this documentary exposing these schools, because they were shut down, files were left behind. They're going and they're just exposing all the teachers and everything that were in these schools. And it's just a crazy to think that parents were sending their kids to these facilities thinking that they were getting like a good education, getting straightened out. But really what it all comes down to, like everything, it was greed. It was, the people who were organizing it, basically stealing money, manipulating the kids, brainwashing the parents into thinking that they were, doing something good for their kids. And it's really sad. And, it's, again, one of those, it's a 3-part. So, you want to see how it all plays out, and really well done by the kids who put out the documentary. But it's just, there's some parts that are hard to watch, because it's like, geez, these are kids getting put through these situations. Like, they couldn't talk, they couldn't look out windows, they couldn't like call their parents. Everything they did was being controlled. And it's crazy to think that people can do this and think like it's okay. or
It
whatever.
really is. You're talking about the first one, the Gone Girl one, and my wife has a real hard time when they start talking about the sexual abuse stuff,
Right.
in detail. Do they
Yeah.
do that on this one? I just want your opinion on that before I tell my wife, let's watch this.
Not into no, not
Okay,
too bad. I mean, they talk about it, they bring it up as stuff that went on, but they don't go into like great deep detail. But
good,
they
good.
do have security footage, not of that stuff,
Yeah,
security footage of like
abuse.
physical
Hmm.
of the teachers like restraining kids and doing stuff that is just like it's crazy. Um and like I said, it's not something like you want to know about. It's just it's an interesting watch, and it's more like one of those true, it's not necessarily a true crime, but one of those that it's just it's interesting. It's
Yeah,
crazy to think that parents can get like so brainwashed, or they want to help their kids so bad that they'll believe anything that these people are telling them, pay thousands and thousands of dollars sending their kids away,
right.
thinking that they're doing something good for their kids, but really, they're really like traumatizing their kids.
Yeah, it kinda ties into, here in Michigan just recently, the mom and dad of the Oxford high school
Right.
shooter were just convicted of 4 counts of manslaughter. The dad was just, convicted last night. So, it kinda ties in. What do you do? If you're a parent, you got a kid that really needs help, you would hope that if you need to send him somewhere, he would be taken care of, he or she would be
Right.
taken care of, but obviously things like the program shows you that it goes awry.
Yeah.
Off topic before we wrap this thing up, the big news here just recently, politically anyway, they're trying to get rid of TikTok,
Oh,
and
right.
that's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes down. But the reason I bring that up is it kind of ties together with social media. Do you ever, when you're flipping through your Twitter or your social media pages and you see some of these unbelievable videos of kids beating the hell out of somebody, or you know what I'm talking about? It
Yeah.
just seems prevalent. I mean,
It's
you can't get
It's
away from
crazy.
it.
I mean, you remember. I mean, fights
Yeah,
happen in high school, middle school, whatever. You know, uh, it's just something that's always happened. But it seems like I don't know if it's again because we see it in front of our face on social media. It seems like it's happening more
sure
than it
does.
used to, and I don't know how it was in your day. I can imagine, but like when fights would happen, it used to be, maybe they fight for a minute and then people would break it up. Maybe
Exactly.
you let them do what they need to do, and then whether it's a teacher or whether it's other kids, you break it up. And now it like I can't believe how many kids they've got their phones out and they're just letting these kids like fight. And a lot of times, sadly, it's one of them getting like beat up pretty bad or something. And I can't imagine letting that happen, watching
R-
and letting. I remember vividly breaking up multiple fights
Yeah,
in high school, even if it wasn't a friend, even if, whatever. It's like, you're not going to let one of your classmates or one of your people, even if you're not friends with them. And it's just a crazy thing that kids want clout is, what they say. They want to get famous. They want to be the ones that have the video
they want
that goes
clicks.
viral
Yep.
on social media. And, we don't have to get into a whole like social media discussion, but it does seem to be an issue,
Hmm.
obviously, because instead of like helping people out, they want to record the fight and post it on social
Well,
media.
it's so
It's just
sad
crazy.
because, again, there's a lot of halfway decent stuff on social media, but when you're
Right.
scanning through there and you see some of these things, and they are clickbait because
Right.
oh, well, I got to take a look at this. I saw
Yep.
one the other day where all these people are running. It was a shooting in Columbus. I don't know if you saw this one, but all
Mm.
these people are running and they're darting in the door of this business, and the guy that's chasing them, shooting at them, gets shot by the cops right before he goes in the door. Right?
Jeez.
It was. I mean, you could not watch it, but I mean, it's
Right.
unbelievable that somebody's filming this.
And
You
just
know?
filming it. And then now it's out there just for everyone to watch on social media or
Exactly.
whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's definitely because there's a lot of good stuff on social media, obviously. And it's a
Yep.
good way to get connected with people and share content, whether it's sports or just news, information, whatever,
Right.
weather, everything. But then there's just so much bad stuff. And
Yep.
whether
Well,
banning TikTok is the way to go, I don't know.
yeah, I
But
don't know about that either. I had a chat with my wife about that. I mean, yeah, we know it's run by China, but come on. I mean, it is. it is kind of stepping on the whole free speech
Right.
right that we have in this country. So again, we'll have a debate on that
Yeah.
another time.
Yep.
We could talk a whole podcast about that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Well, let's call it a pod. Jared did have to step away for some work duties. So again, we want to thank all our partners, including Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Make sure you talk to a rep or go online, see what discounts are available for memberships. Get healthy and get in shape. Details at memorialhealthcare.org. We also want to thank our other great partners. They include AZ Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Corey Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Tap House and Grill, and Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. And don't forget, check our social media page. Where do they find us at 3 Point Pod, right?
Yep, at 3 Point Pod, or just search 3 Point Podcast on Facebook. And I assume you're alluding to, we'll be doing posts about our bracket pool. It's always free to join. So
let's get a record amount this year. We've had great support the years we've done it. We'll have gift certificates for Rivals and some other prizes to give away. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All right, Matt, great talking with you and Jared again. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Thanks for listening.